Let's bring in now Sky News contributor Kosha Gada. In response to all of that, Kosha, Donald Trump is now saying that if he wants to, he could compel the journalists who reported on it to reveal their source.
Yes, great to be with you, Caleb. I think it'll be a little bit tricky for him to do that because we do have the First Amendment in the U.S., which has the strongest protections in the world against the press, even press that is adversarial, not always honest. Their trust is at an all-time low. It is very difficult to compel them to reveal their sources. So it may just be rhetoric and bluster from him. However, there is value in intimidation and putting pressure on him. More likely, he's going to probably find success by trying to trace the leaker within the government, within the Pentagon, who did it. This has been a problem. We've seen a low-level person leak the Dobbs decision at the Supreme Court, and there have been other leaks. So it would actually be good for the country, I think, if they can snuff out who that is internally within the government and make an example so that these types of leaks don't keep happening.
Yeah, and, you know, it's the leaker's fault. It's not the journalist's fault, we should note. Meanwhile, Trump said that he's found a very wealthy group of people, that's his word, to buy TikTok, which would potentially save it from a ban in the United States. And he sort of kept putting this ban off every 90 days. Do we have any detail about who these people are, where they're from, what the deal might be?
Not much. I think classic Trump style, he's dangling it out there and saying he'll reveal it in 2 weeks. We do know from the past 6 months or so, there have been a few different very wealthy investors that have expressed interest. Kevin O'Leary, who's one of the sharks on the American version of Shark Tank and a very successful investor, has been putting together a consortium of investors, institutional and personal ones, and or individual investors, and they've been the only group that's put out a public offer. So it could be them. Others like Elon Musk, Larry Ellison, founder of Oracle, Steve Mnuchin, who worked in the Trump administration before as a billionaire. All of them have at different points mentioned it might be them. I think the key also is the Chinese party, Communist Party, has what's called a golden share in TikTok. So they have veto rights to block who TikTok decides to divest it to. So that's another angle that I think Trump is juggling and trying to find a group that can buy this at a fair price and also appease Xi Jinping's golden share, and we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks.
I think it's just a shame that he didn't invoke the ban at some point and try to force him to do things a little earlier. Of course, while we're talking about Trump, his big, beautiful bill made it through the Senate, but we know it had its critics, including from within the Republican Party. One of them we know, of course, is his ex-best friend, Trump's ex-best friend, Elon Musk, who went on his platform X over the weekend and said it will destroy millions of jobs in America and cause immense strategic harm to our country. Utterly insane and destructive. The process, though, by which this thing was passed was quite extraordinary, though, Kosha.
It was. They're using this reconciliation process, which is the only mechanism, and you can't use it too many times. You can basically use it once in a term that allows them to get it through with just a simple majority, 50% or 51% of the votes, whereas otherwise they'd have to meet a 60% threshold, and that's next to impossible just given how divided the country is right now. So it's squeaked by with the skin of its teeth. Not everything in it is going to make everybody happy. Elon Musk's gripe with it is that it doesn't cut spending deeply enough. This is true. However, the Trump team is prioritizing immigration enforcement over spending cuts, and it has the greatest funding for immigration enforcement that's ever been passed by Congress, for the wall, for more ICE agents, for more deportation-related mechanisms and needs that they have. So that's what he's prioritizing, and it'll cut some spending, but not as much as we would like. But life is about trade-offs, and that's a trade-off he's made.
Indeed, and it does come with tax cuts too. Kosha Gada, thank you so much for your time.